Hello, everyone, and welcome to zici, the podcast where we dive into fascinating stories and big ideas with amazing guests. My name is Irisa, and this is my co-host Mircea.
Today we are honored to have a very special guest, Her Excellency Elene Evangelia Grammatika, the Ambassador of the Hellenic Republic to Romania. With a career spanning law, diplomacy, and even posts in locations like Johannesburg and NATO in Brussels, she's here to share her insights and personal stories with us.
That's right, from promoting Greek culture to strengthening Romanian-Greece ties, Ambassador Grammatika has so much to tell us. So let's get started. Your Excellency, welcome to our podcast.
Thank you very much. It is really my pleasure to be here, and I am impressed by your school and by the students and by both of you, Irisha and Mircea.
Thank you. Your Excellency, you started your career as a lawyer in the Athens Bar, but before joining the Greek Foreign Service in 1999. What motivated you to transition from law to diplomacy?
I always wanted to be a diplomat, but being an only child, my parents didn't encourage that because it is a career that takes you around many places, and they considered that this was not the best option for their daughter and the best stability for a family life. And of course, that was many decades ago. Things have changed in the meantime. So I started following my father's track. He was a lawyer. I studied law, which is an excellent school for learning and very useful as a basis, of course, for not just for diplomacy or not mainly for diplomacy, but for a number of career opportunities ahead. However, I still didn't find, let's say, my calling really in law. I didn't want to become a judge. I didn't want to become a notary. I wanted something that was more international, and I guess that for anyone who joins the diplomatic service, you need to have some idealism and really be inspired by relations among people that involve also promoting your country and the interests of your country, of course, around towards the rest of the world and other countries. What is very important is to really be committed to dialogue, because diplomacy is a form of conducting international relations through dialogue and through promoting contacts and exchanges.
Your Excellency, I wanted to ask you, what role do you think the Greek community in Romania plays between fostering ties between the two nations?
I think having a community in one country, such as the Greek community here in Romania, is a very important bridge for promoting the relations between two countries and two peoples. Greece has a long-standing, and Greeks, let's say more specifically, have a long-standing presence that goes back centuries, actually, in what is today Romania. Since the time, more particularly, we have since the ancient times, the first colony of Tomis by Greeks in the Black Sea, what is today's Constanța, and in Istria, not far away from that. But in particular, during the 18th century, let's focus on that, and the Phanariot princes. Now, they had an influence through Greek letters, Greek language teaching. There were the two academies of St. Sava in Bucharest and Iași that promoted education, not just for Romanians, but primarily for Romanians, but also they were so well known, those two academies, as educational institutions, that also from other places in the southeastern Europe and other countries, they were young men from, let's say, good families were sent here to study. All this created a basis that was very favorable to having more Greeks follow after the end of the Phanariot period, and especially in the 19th century, where the Romanian state was created, and there were many businessmen arriving here and establishing themselves, Greek businessmen, along the Danube ports, so mainly Constanța, Braila, Galați, and of course Iași and Bucharest, where there was always a presence. They were important cities. Even before that, there were Greek merchants in Brașov and other places in Romania as well. So this past was the basis for a community that has been changing through, of course, is not constant. Some have stayed on, and we have they have their ancestors living here for 2 centuries and still feeling as part of a Greek community. And then we have a constant wave of students, businessmen that still find Romania hospitable, and they feel welcome here. And of course, it is a beautiful country with a lot of resources. And when they establish themselves here, they serve as a bridge between our 2 countries. Romanians also in Greece, the tourists, the visitors, and also the community that has established itself in Greece for the past, especially 35, 40 years, are also an important bridge for the relations between our 2 countries.
Yeah, it's to the ambassador. You were present. We had a topic named diplomacy, the bridge between countries, and it's not only the diplomacy between diplomats. It's also between people, and as you were saying, the people that came here, and every Romanian loves Greece. But let's continue. Can you tell us about a memorable moment from your diplomatic career that shaped your approach to representing Greece?
Oh, that is a difficult question, and there are many moments actually that had an important impact in the way I approach my work at various stages. You know, you learn from experience a lot. You need some basic education, of course, and knowledge, but then experience is what feeds you and shapes you. So I think my first international meeting where I had to take the floor and represent Greece was the most maybe stressful but also most important experience. And it helped me both realize that it's not the end of the world, not to say every word perfectly, but it is very important to get the message across, and it is also very important to listen to the others in a multilateral environment and try to understand every country's perspective to be able to promote your country's interest, but also a common final goal that unites to an acceptable level all the other partner countries' interests. So I think this was the most important first experience I had.
How did you feel?
I felt very stressed in the beginning and very unsure about what I had accomplished afterwards. But I think with every time that I have had to participate in an international meeting and represent my country, and even sitting here with you now and representing Greece in many ways as the ambassador of Greece in Romania, is an important step into learning from your experience, improving yourself, and hoping that you're doing things in the way that foster and promote cooperation and dialogue, and not just the interests of your country. It's also promoting this partnership between countries.
It's scary on MUN. I can only imagine how it's like in the United Nations.
And one of the ways that Greece has supported Romania was by promoting our bids to join the Schengen area and the OECD. Why do you think this support is important for both countries?
Romania and Greece are neighbors. They're not immediate neighbors. We don't share borders, but we are in the same geographical region of southeastern Europe. As I mentioned before, there are long-standing bonds between our two countries. There are many affinities between the people. There are many common interests and common views of the world. We're like-minded. Now, Greece was, since the outset, very supportive of Romania's efforts to join the EU, to join NATO, to, of course, join now Schengen. We were extremely supportive and took also some initiatives to try and promote the Romanian and the Bulgarian efforts to join Schengen, because there were some small hurdles or bigger hurdles in the end. And of course, this is something that promotes the prospects and the cooperation of the entire region. It's not good just for Romania, all those steps, it's good for the wider region. And it strengthens the links and the bonds between our countries to the benefit of our people, our economies, and of the wider region. Regarding Romania's efforts to also become a full member and accede to OECD, it is also an important goal. As Greece we have Greek businessmen that invest in Romania, we're looking forward that Romania also becomes a country that is considered a developed economically country. Joining the OECD will improve the prospects of Romania attracting even more investments. So I think this is good for not just Romania, but for the wider region.
I have to say I was very grateful for not having to wait for the border patrol when I went into Greece. It was something new because I hadn't gone to Greece before we entered Schengen, and my memories were of waiting 4 hours in line in order to go through Bulgaria and get to Greece.
And indeed, Mircea, I really look forward to even more Romanians traveling faster now. I hope to Greece and visiting Greece for shorter breaks, for longer breaks in the summer. And this has also encouraged more Greeks to travel for city breaks and visits to Romania. We see an increase of also the flux of Greek tourists towards Romania, and of course we're waiting to welcome as many Romanians as they can come to Greece in the summer and in spring and in fall and also in the winter. You know, it's a 365 days a year destination, Greece, as is beautiful Romania as well. I must stress that it is a beautiful country, Romania, and has a lot to offer as well.
Thank you.
But still cold in the winter. But we have Brașov. We go there. You worked at Greece's embassy in Vienna, and it's UN delegation from 2003 to 2006. How did working in a multilateral setting differ from bilateral diplomacy?
There are different challenges and opportunities, of course, in when you compare multilateral diplomacy to bilateral diplomacy. I think bilateral diplomacy is more directly, you see your results more quickly. and it's more about public diplomacy as well, and promoting the soft power of your country. So Greece, of course, it's a country that's not very big or very rich, but we have a rich history, a rich culture, and we have a lot of, let's say, soft power to promote. And in the bilateral relations, you have the opportunity to exploit this more and to reach out to the people more in the country you're accredited to and where you're serving. The multilateral environment is, as I said, the opportunity to discuss with many, many countries around the table. And it is very important that you try to take into account their views, understand them, in order to promote your country's, of course, positions and interests, but also trying to reach a consensus, a common understanding in order for things to progress. So it is also very important, and I'm very, I feel fortunate that I had the opportunity to work in Vienna, both at the bilateral embassy as well as the UN. It was very useful for me. And then again, when I was posted at NATO in Brussels, at the Greek mission to NATO, to also have the opportunity to work in a multilateral negotiations framework again.
How was it to visit so many countries? How is it to go from a country to another? And the life of a diplomat seems so hard to me, even though it's my dream. It seems out of the ordinary.
Well, you need to follow your dreams. I was, as I told you, at first I was listening to my parents, and I wasn't pushing to become a diplomat in the initial years of my studies. But there are some difficulties when you move around with a family, but the main problem is that your children complain because they have to change schools and make new friends. And I think this is the hardest part. As far as I am concerned personally, of course, I find it, I'm passionate about it because you get to live in a place, get to know another culture, work on the relations between your country and that country. You can never get bored in this career because you have the opportunity to change the dossier of what you work on. So every 3-4 years, and this rejuvenates your interest. And it's, I think, a wonderful career. But, of course, there are personal challenges, there are family challenges. It is tiring to move your personal belongings from one place to the other. It can be stressful, but then, you know, depending on, you have to follow your calling and your passions. So I encourage you, if you wish it, to try it. And you can always, you know, change a path. I think now in today's world, the way things are moving ahead with technology, it provides an opportunity for the younger generation to be able to have more flexibility in their career choices than before, where you would study law and you couldn't do anything else. You would study business and you couldn't do anything else. Maybe business was the most flexible one. Now you can combine your knowledge and your education with a lot of new opportunities. So I encourage you to follow your dreams and your passions.
Speaking of technology, how has technology helped and changed diplomacy over the years and over your career?
It has indeed been a significant change. When I started now 26 years ago, the more traditional diplomacy, as in exchanging note verbal, you know, letter correspondence, and in-person meetings was the rule. You needed to travel and exchange visits in order to have the bilateral contacts. Through technology, We have now more opportunities to have online meetings and contacts without being in the same place at the same time. This is very important. It facilitates communication and negotiation. At the same time, of course, getting to know somebody in person and visiting a place is priceless. It's the most important thing. You need to still combine both. Another very important factor that is new today and we need to take into account in modern diplomacy, of course, is the importance of media, of modern media like social networks, which are very useful for promoting your country, for promoting your messages, but they also entail risks such as, cyber attacks and the new forms of deep fake and hybrid warfare through fake news promotion. All this is a new reality that we need to tackle to protect, of course, the integrity of our societies and of our countries. But it also, new technologies and AI will give us new tools. So I think we have to be open to new technologies and at the same time not lose the old-fashioned tools of face-to-face meetings and visits and getting to know the places and the people as well. It's very important to have the exchanges because only by meeting the others, discussing with those that are not exactly like us, we combat fear, we combat xenophobia, we combat prejudice, and this is also very important for our societies and for our partnerships and for our common goal to promote peaceful resolution of disputes, peaceful and promote the well-being of our peoples, without, of course, undermining very important national interests. But we can combine both. Thank you.
Well, in this modern world, what skills do you consider essential for a successful diplomat? Taking into consideration the changes in technology and everything, diplomacy changed a lot.
Well, it used to be knowing, having a very good knowledge of history and the foreign languages. I think with AI, foreign languages and how many languages you know, this need and this asset will minimize, because I guess we will be able to be standing here and me talking my native language and you in your mother tongues, and we will have automatic translation, which will facilitate communication around the world. I think also the tools of technology allow us to access history and the past more easily, but still we need to be open-minded, we need to study and learn, we need to understand our country very well, and to also learn about the other countries as well. So some things will stay, I think, the same. A lot will be more easy to access. You need passion, you need to be open-minded, and you need to wish to work through dialogue with the other countries.
Moving on a little bit, how does Greece collaborate with Romania in the European Union and in NATO to solve regional challenges?
Greece and NATO are partners in the EU and allies at NATO, and we are two like-minded countries to a very great extent. We are in the same wider region. Greece and Romania need to improve their connectivity because, and by that I mean the infrastructure that links them. not just the highways, but rail infrastructure, connect our ports, energy infrastructure and connectivity is also very important. And because as the international developments have demonstrated, we need to cooperate more and be more connected among like-minded partners in order to successfully mitigate the risks and the threats and be more resilient as societies and as governance and government and address cyber threats and cybersecurity threats and energy threats. Romania has a lot of natural resources, and we look forward to Romania becoming in the next couple of years also a very important gas producer for Europe. But modernizing the grid and investing more in renewables as Greece does. And we're very proud that Greek companies such as the Greek PPC company and other companies have invested more than 3 billion euros in the last 2 years in Romania in energy projects, including many renewable energy projects, wind farms and solar panel projects, connecting our countries and making our energy systems more reliable and resilient. We have seen what happened, and you must have read what happened recently in Spain. It was with a blackout, and was the lack, I think, of enough connectivity with other energy systems and grids. This is a very important aspect too. In general, both for economic reasons, for trade reasons, and also for security reasons, and including reinforcement of defensive measures, if need be, having better access and connection between Greece, Bulgaria, and Romania is very important, including for Moldova, the Republic of Moldova, and for Ukraine. As soon as we have the reconstruction, we enter, hopefully, the reconstruction phase of Ukraine. All this is a win-win situation for both our countries.
You've actively promoted women's economic independence and gender equality. And we even talked a bit about this before. What specific challenges have you observed on this issue within Romania and Greece, and how can diplomacy address them?
Thank you very much. You give me this opportunity to stress that, of course, there has been a lot of progress, both in Greece and in Romania, regarding the participation of women in the society and in the workforce. It is very important the way our societies develop and the needs and the economic needs. They make it imperative that we have equal access. There is a lot of progress. I think it's about being offered the opportunity and to seize it if you wish. It's not about obliging everyone to have, let's say, a unified approach and obligation. I see a very dynamic ladies' force here in Romania, and I admire them. They're beautiful, they're active, and this is not to minimize the role of men in our societies. I think it's the opposite. It's the fact that we're complementary. Our two countries have a lot of tradition and common traditions, and I think we're moving ahead in a positive way. European Union, democratization, the fact that rule of law and human rights are better respected, all this influences our daily way of life. And through education and through equal opportunities, it is certain that the future of our countries is better. Thank you. Maybe I will make a question.
Please.
I was very impressed by your school, and I wanted to hear from you how it empowers you and gives you a lot of opportunities for your future dreams, to go and chase your dreams.
Well, besides the supplementary classes, is my colleagues and I presented before. We have diplomacy, marketing, media, and many more. I didn't really understand the work of a diplomat before. I didn't even imagine of coming here or do anything this important. I didn't imagine that I would be in the same room as a diplomat at my age. And when I switched schools, when I came to Laude-Reut, everything was so out of the ordinary. It was truly crazy. It was something from another world. And I think me wishing to go to international relations, I think Laude-Reut paved the way to my dream.
Wonderful.
I joined Laude in 9th grade, coming from a public school, and I remember while I was at public school, I was hanging out with my friends, but I was going day by day. I was only thinking about next day. Once I joined Laude, once I came to Laude, I really felt that I started to think about how my life would go on after I finished high school. And I started to orient myself. We also have all these amazing extracurriculars that I just love taking part in. As we talked earlier, I've spent a lot of time in the robotics laboratory, and that has given me a concrete idea of really what I want to do with my life, what I want to do in the future. And without Laude, I couldn't have amazing opportunities like these. I would have never imagined if you told my 7th grade self that I would be sitting in a podcast with the Ambassador of Greece. I wouldn't believe you.
Yeah, same.
I'm very impressed by your school, and I'm also very proud that we have a Greek school here in Bucharest, which is not, of course, it's a more traditional school, but it is a good opportunity to increase the exchanges between the Greek school Athena and Laude-Reut, and so they see how wonderful things here happen, and you see also how well they also work within the framework of their Greek curriculum and fostering, the bilateral exchanges.
Laude always cooperates with our other schools. We had Eichmann's trial where many schools came and saw us. And if next year, or maybe in the following years, we will have an MUN together or a project together, I am sure that everybody will be happy, and especially the president of our school. She will be very happy.
I look forward to it. Now, in diplomacy, you always need to see the wider picture, not just your country, and not just, you must, as I said, see things in a more geopolitical perspective and open. And it is very important to understand that even though it is a time of change, technological progress, a lot of international developments that have risks and have opportunities as well, We need to be ready to move, to connect bridges, to build bridges among our countries. Greece is thankfully a pillar of stability in its corner of southeastern Europe. It's in the Mediterranean. It can connect through projects such as the India, Middle East, Europe corridor through the Gulf state, from India through the Gulf states and Saudi Arabia, Israel, Greece, onwards to Romania and the rest of Europe. And it is very important that we work to enhance, seize those opportunities and enhance our connectivity and improve the future for all the people in the region.
We're very happy if we would cooperate in any way because, for example, we have a project due Wednesday, I believe, at Diplomacy, on the theme, Is Diplomacy Dead? And I wrote an essay explaining that it's not dead, it's just improving. And I said how important it is to educate young people in a more modern way, and not only with laptops or televisions in every possible way, so that they can understand the present and they can represent the countries better. And I'm really happy if we could do anything together from the educational point of view, of course.
I would also be very, very happy, especially considering the fact that for me, Greece was a very big part of my life. I know you mentioned earlier about the Greek merchants that came to Romania. One of those Greek merchants was actually my great-great-grandfather.
Oh, wonderful.
Spiru Pelecudi. And I carry his name, and ever since I was a little child, even when I went to get my passport done or my identity card done, people always ask me, what's that interesting name from? Where it's from? And I say, well, I have a Greek name. I have had Greek ancestors, and Greece has always been this happy place for me and an important part of my life.
I'm very happy to hear that, and of course, Greece was a rather small place, and Greeks had to move around the world to seek, for their livelihood, and that's why many of them became merchants. But this gave us also the soft power and the connections and the bridges to many places around the world, and especially, of course, in the neighborhood and in Romania, where indeed the presence, they loved this country, they felt welcome, and there are still today those bonds that bloom. And I'm really touched by this story that demonstrates how much there is still today that connects these lands of the wider region. It's very important, and I think, as you mentioned, what you do here at the school with Model United Nations, etc., opens your mind to what is actually diplomacy. Diplomacy is not dead. The tools change, maybe, and as I mentioned, they present challenges, but also opportunities. But we need diplomacy, and Greece actively sought, and we're very proud that we are for 2025, 2026, so this year and next year, a non-permanent member at the United Nations, and where at the Security Council you get to discuss all the major problems, issues of interest of universal interest and around the world, and about the conflicts, etc., and try to discuss and to promote solutions through dialogue and through efforts for peaceful resolution. And it's very important. Diplomacy doesn't die. It's not the only tool, but it's a very important tool.
Can you tell us about a funny or unexpected moment in your career? Something for the students listening or watching?
There are many instances. I think that here in Romania, when I arrived, I was impressed by the love of people participating in beautiful events and organizing beautiful events. So the first big event I attended, I thought I would be more casual. And I arrived and all the ladies were so beautifully dressed and had such wonderful prepared speeches. And I was impressed and a little bit, afraid how they would look at me, but they're so wonderful and warm people that they encouraged me that even though I was, simply dressed with my suit, no beautiful dress, not a lot of makeup. Usually I don't wear a lot of makeup. And they embraced me, so this went through very well. And long speeches, that was the first thing that impressed me. But now I really appreciated the way they combine art with prize giving, which is also very encouraging, and the warmth. So this was a surprise for me, but also a wonderful discovery.
We're glad.
And also for other people listening to this the podcast, what sort of advice would you offer them if they want to become a diplomat or if they want to get involved with global affairs?
You need to have a passion and for reaching out and having relations with other people and other countries. You need to have perseverance in your goal. It's not always easy. You need to be open-minded. You need to be able and ready to also look at the other's perspective and try to understand it, because that is what helps you promote better your country's interest, but also reaching the goal of diplomacy is also trying to find consensus in many cases. So I think these are my advices from experience.
And I would like to ask you a question that's a bit generic. For students that are now going to study abroad, do you think the country that you're in changes you as a person?
I don't know if it changes you as a person, but you definitely acquire, not your personality maybe, but you acquire a lot of knowledge about another culture, about another tradition, and it enriches you. So I think it is important to have roots in one country. It is very important to get to know your own traditions and your own history, whether you only come from one country or you combine 2 or 3 cultures and histories. It's very important to get to read about them, have those roots, but also branch out and learn and understand other people. It definitely enriches you.
I am very curious. What was your opinion about the Ambassador, the project where we came to the embassies and we talked and we represented, we tried to be a diplomat for the day.
I was impressed. I was very impressed, both by the interest and the questions of the group that visited our embassy. And it demonstrated knowledge and maturity that I wouldn't expect from students, from people that are still so young. and that's school. And then I was extremely impressed by their speeches and the presentations of the major event, both last year and this year. It was my second time. Last year it was held at the Parliament, this year at a big hotel in Bucharest. The public speaking, the content of the presentations, it's very impressive. I congratulate all of you students for being so good and absorbing and making use of these opportunities, but it is your end product, and I congratulate you.
Thank you. Do you think public speaking is really that important to become a diplomat?
Well, I wasn't taught public speaking at school or in university, and I learned on the job as a diplomat. So I think it is very important. It is very important to know how to get your message, your key messages across, to overcome the fear of standing in front of an audience and people that you don't know. It is a tool that is useful not just for diplomacy, but I think for every walk of life. Whatever you do, you need, it is a very useful tool to be able to reach out and present your arguments and present even your wishes and your greetings to an audience. So yes.
Talking about that, what's like in the United Nations? What's the dynamic? How are the people in general speaking?
I think the United Nations is really, it has been an incredible step ahead towards global peace and cooperation. It brings together almost 200 countries and representatives from 200 countries. So you see people, you find yourself, if you're in a physical meeting at the United Nations, either in New York, which is the biggest headquarters of the United Nations, or in Vienna, where there's also a United Nations office, for specific, for economic cooperation, for cooperation in combating international trafficking of drugs and international crime, and other, and international trade, and excuse me if I forget, or in Geneva, which is the headquarters for United Nations, mainly for human rights. You have the opportunity to sit around the table with representatives from so many countries around the world, hear their views, get used to listening through translation and trying to understand exactly what is meant, hearing, let's say, the international lingo of English with different accents. It's definitely very important, and an important, I think, step it's not just for diplomats, because you can be an expert in your country for one issue and be sent to represent your country for that specific issue at an international conference. So all this is very impressive and very useful.
It's a curiosity.
I don't think I have anything else to add. For me, I think the most inconceivable part of being a diplomat is not having a stable home. Because I know you said that you are able to balance your work-life situation, but I don't know how anyone can really do that efficiently when, like, for example, when we come home from school, we have a stable home, we go to our parents or we see our relatives, but when you're always moving, I think that's really difficult. That's what really, I guess, scares me a little bit about becoming a diplomat.
Indeed, it is not a life for everybody. My children do not like those changes and did not appreciate changing school, because when you're happy in a school, you don't want to change an environment. I enjoy the changes, but of course, as you mentioned, it is a challenge spending time also with your relatives, with your parents. You fly a lot around. You must overcome any fear of flying and only think happy thoughts wherever even you are. But it also enriches you with many opportunities that you wouldn't have. You mentioned that I was Consul General of Greece in Johannesburg. Now, South Africa is very far from Greece. And maybe I would never have had the opportunity to travel and discover South Africa. Of course, we're not tourists as diplomats. We go to a place because we work there. But it gives you the opportunity to discover that place, discover mainly the people, the history, understand what is important to them. That is also very important. And then on the sideline, also get to travel a little bit and discover the country. And all countries around the world have something to offer. So you do sacrifice the quality time spent with your close family. And now that my children are older and they're students, of course, I only see them maybe not even once a month, and I miss them. But they did get some positive things from moving around while they were at school. They did get to learn better English. They did get to know a number of countries, and I think all this in the end can be positive. But of course, they don't want to become diplomats.
No, why?
They want to stay put in one country. I don't know if the way our lives develop in the modern, in the contemporary world with AI and technology, and who knows how it will affect the way we work. Maybe they will need to move around more for their work, even if they're not diplomats. But we'll see. For the time being, they prefer being stable, having a stable home.
May I ask you, what was your favorite country?
Every country's favorite. Now it is Romania. But I discovered the beauty in the people and more in detail the history of every country I've been to. Right now, I can tell you it's Romania. I'm still discovering it. And of course, the affinities between the people make it so easy to feel at home. But I definitely enjoyed South Africa. I definitely enjoyed being in Belgium and working at NATO. And of course, Austria, which was my first posting in Vienna, remains very, very important also in my heart.
Well, Your Excellency, thank you so much for sharing such interesting ideas and thoughts with us.
Well, at our podcast, we have a tradition. Every guest can leave a few words in our Book of Honor, and we would be absolutely delighted if you could do the same, Your Excellency.
With pleasure. Thank you. And it was a really great pleasure for me to be here and hosted by you. And I will be honest when I say that you were my two favorite interviewers in my entire life so far.
Left side.
Thank you very much.
We're glad. Thank you so
Thank you so
much.
much.
Thank you.